and welcome. Now, we get a lot of letters of complaint on Top Gear from people with sensible shoes that we only do fast, expensive cars. So, Mr. Hushpuppy and Mr. Brogue, look at this. It's the new Citroën C2. It's a replacement for the little Saxo, and coming up now is my road test of it. It's a little bit shorter than the old Saxo, which makes it easier to deal with in supermarket car parks. And with a split-folding rear tailgate and a practical boot, it's an ideal tool for the weekly shop. Of course, ever since the 2CV, Citroën has been the badge of choice for those of a guardian disposition. So, if you're the sort of person who dines on tofu and plays whale song at dinner parties, you'll love the diesel version, which does 78 miles to the gallon. Old people are going to like the way it's so easy to drive, and the prices too, which start at just £7,500. And this being Citroën already, there's a £500 cashback offer. It's at the track where things start to go wrong. If you buy the hot version, the 1.6 VTR that I have here, you have to have a flappy paddle gearbox, which is horrid.
Into fourth. And it's not that electric to drive. There's none of the joie de vivre you used to get from old hot Citroëns. It's a bit stodgy.
It's not that fast either. For a car with sporting pretensions, 121 miles an hour is not really enough. So, it's a wonderful car then for everyone except the thrusting young man who wants to get a move on.
No. Actually, it's thrusting young men who are going to like this car most of all.
Look at the details. The gear lever that seems to have come from a sex shop. The translucent trim, the 12 million gigawatt stereo. And the bump, which is full of words like wicked and cool.
And this, it seems, is the language of something called cruising, which isn't what I thought it was.
Every week in every town in Britain, thousands of young men gather to smoke in a public place. It's a baseline wall of baseball hats and noise. This, it turns out, is cruising.
Oh, look at that one. The Mitsubishi L200 van. This cruising thing, what's it about?
What's it about?
Yeah.
About flexing, man.
It's about what?
Flexing, like, having a good time and all.
Flexing?
Yeah.
What are you on about? What is flexing?
Flexing means winding, basically.
It means winding?
But I don't know why you
I'm none the wiser. We're flexing, we're winding.
I've got cameras.
Does anybody here speak English? Does anybody speak English here?
showing off.
Showing off. This man speaks English. Flexing and winding means showing off. An Astra with a £6,000 stereo in it. Your car's on fire.
Small Citroëns became gods to this lot. Street heroes, better even than girls.
There were three reasons for that. One, they were cheap. Two, they were forever being offered with free insurance, which when you're 19 years old is more important than life itself. And three, they were easy to modify.
It all started with the Saxo, which caught Citroën by surprise. They had no idea that this little car would become the darling of the cruise scene.
I've seen Saxos that have had 40, 50 grand spent on them. I don't know how the Saxo took off. As it did, it just kind of exploded. And once a car gets popular, then more and more people are doing more and more stuff for it, so they can get these great bumpers and great suspension kits and engine upgrades. And it's just one of those cars that wears its modifications really nicely. And 9 times out of 10, they look stunning modified, you know.
How much did your Saxo cost?
I spent about 9 buying it and around 12,000 doing it up.
So it's a £21,000 car. That's the well
At
done.
the moment.
Oh, you're going to do more.
Eventually, yeah.
This market is now so vast that when Citroën were designing this thing about 18 months ago, they actually brought one here and said to these guys, is it okay? Do you like it? I bet they never did that when the tree huggers were buying their cars.
Taking all the stuff that we're doing to ours, our older cars, and now they're doing it on production cars, aren't they?
Is that a bad thing?
No.
What it does mean, though, is that the C2's big wheels and wheel arches, its translucent sex-aid gear lever, the trillion-watt stereo, all of it will be ripped out and replaced with the next generation of modifications.
I came with a Citroën C2, and I want to know what you would do to it if you had one.
I would supercharge it.
Supercharge it, turbocharge it, put a V8 in it.
Emerald KG, and put nitros, do the work.
Engine in the boot.
Put the engine in the boot.
Drive, you know.
And then make it four-wheel drive. Is this how it starts? Is this they'll think, well, we've got an idea, let's go and do it?
What would you do?
And then what, you go and hold up a post office or something?
No.
That makes me feel very sad, that.
Why?
Well, I just wish that we'd had flexing and winding when we were kids, because I love this whole modifying scene. I think it's brilliant.
We did have cruising, though.
I know, but that meant going to a gentleman's lavatory, and that's... Anyway, Citroën C2. Things I like about it. It's already available with free insurance. I like the fact it's smaller than the Saxo that it replaces. I love this split-folding rear tailgate like you get on a Range Rover. And already there's a new model called the GT, which has a 1.6-litre engine, and you don't have to have the flappy paddle gearbox with it.
Thank God for that.
The only drawback, so far as I can see, is that Citroën never does terribly well in reliability surveys.
No, they don't. And it has to be said that our favourite small car, which is still the Toyota Yaris, that generally does pretty well.
It does, it does. So we would still say that if you are a young man who wants to modify his car, or a Guardian reader, or a normal person, the Yaris is probably still your best bet.
And the Yaris does come with free insurance, and your dealer will tell you that that's only until December the 19th. But don't worry, we know better. That'll be extended.
It will be extended. And that's a smooth link. We like a smooth link on Top Gear. He's talking about Toyota.